Deep within underground, Thel enters a cockpit inside of the family mech Vuki. He no longer wears the traditional uniform. In his place is a gray skin-tight combat mech suit. He adjusts it for a little bit at the same moment that his co-pilots, Vin and Hess, enters after him. Thel turns his head to them. Hess, wearing a light blue combat suit, looks at the interior of the cockpit and looks amazed at how organized it is. Vin, wearing a more darker red combat suit, does not pay any attention to her surroundings. The interior could be better. You could do without the mess of buttons. Oh, now you're just nitpicking, and you haven't looked around when you said that. I don't need to. She does look ahead in front of her. Wait, where is the controller? The controller? To pilot this thing? You have the weapons and the defense stations, but your engineers didn't think to include the main station to pilot this thing? Will you relax? This isn't your mech where we just sit down. Okay then, how do you pilot this thing? Yeah, I'm actually curious myself. It's simple. He taps his foot on the floor. Suddenly, it splits open beside the three pilots. A platform 15 feet in length and width rises from underneath. It stops and locks in place. Thel walks over to the platform and steps onto it. I am the controller.
Welcome. Please register as main pilot.
What was that? Vuki's AI. This will not take long. Stray beams of light covers the Mooney from head to toe.
Scan complete. Welcome, Thel the Mooney.
Whoa. Vuki, scan and register my co-pilots.
Affirmative.
Beams of light scans both Vin and Hess at the same time. Pilots registered. Right. So, am I supposed to tell this thing what to do now? Unfortunately, it only takes orders from a Demuni. Figures. Vuki, grant Chamni and Kazuni access to the weapons and defense stations. Acknowledged. The system beeps and boops. Suddenly, two stations appears on the left and right side of the cockpit beside the main platform. Outside of the mech and walking along the balcony, Commander Du Vlaji picks up a microphone and holds it up next to his mouth. Vuki, this is Commander Vlaji. The duel is about to commence. Prepare for a quick system check. The pilot hears the message from the commander. Yes, sir. We should probably get to our stations. Right! Might as well get it over with. Hess grips his fist and excitedly sits down in the defense station. Vin walks over and sits down in the weapons station. Still standing on the main platform, Thel extends his arms out. Holographic armor appears on his hands and wrists, then more on the arms, chest, and the legs. Next comes a helmet materializing on his head. On the visor, the interface appears with stats. Vuki, commence system scanning.
Acknowledged. Combat readiness, 100%. Mobility, functional. Defense, updated and upgraded. Weapons, updated, fully loaded, and ready. Flight capacity and stability, fully functional. Vuki, Gumi-class battlemech, ready.
All right! I'm impressed. You managed to update it constantly. It's not easy, you know. Never was. Commander, all systems are in order. We are ready for combat. Excellent. The commander looks at the engineers. Raise the machine! 3 engineers pushes a few buttons. The platform that the mech is standing on begins to vibrate. Then, it starts to elevate. Within the mech, the pilots can feel the movements from the outside. Remember, Vin, this is only for one match. After this, we will never do this again. The crews, mechanics, and engineers watch as Vuki as it continues to be elevated. Move aside! Move aside! Move aside! Vlaji hears the colonel as he rushes through the crews. He turns to his left and spots them approaching him. Good heavens, Colonel! What are you doing running? Ruiz, out of breath, stops in front of the commander.
Sir, I have received a message from Command at Naboya that the city of Gulda is destroyed.
Everyone, upon hearing the news, becomes shocked. What? What happened? As Vuki continues to ascend, the ceiling above it begins to split open. A blasting light grows and covers the mech. Its head peers out. An enormous cheer erupts. The crowd of people in the Masca Stadium rises to their feet and expresses joy at the sight of Vuki. From inside the cockpit, the 3 pilots can faintly hear the cheering crowd in the stadium. Remind me how many people are here? Approximately 80,037. Why? Are you afraid of large amounts of crowds? What? No, it's not that I'm afraid of large crowds. I love the attention. It's just, when it comes to performance, I tend to freeze up? Oh, so you're scared then? I am not! Enough, you two. Vuki, noise suppression.
Affirmative. Initiating noise suppression.
The sounds coming from outside of the mech suddenly phase into muffled noises. And then, nothing. Vin and Hess looks around to try and listen to anything coming from the outside. Nothing. The former looks at Thel with a very no-caring look on her face. How many other features does this thing have? To be honest, I lost count. That's surprising.
Hey, let's hope that piece of junk still know how to fight!
A random voice comes through the intercoms. No. Is that? Indeed. Open main screen. The screen shows another group of 3 pilots inside of a cockpit with smiles on their faces. Avgavatsky? Fukasaxta? Cesium.
Well, color me surprised. The 3 of the most famous dynasties working together as one. This is just brilliant. Hey, don't you dare speak so arrogantly. We have the best mech on Nibiru to date. Oh, really? Have you seen Milga?
A holograph appears inside of Vuki's cockpit. It shows Milga's plump and girthy build, 4 arms and legs on full display. Vin tilts her head in curiosity. If I remember correctly, isn't Milga an old model? Yes, but like your mech, we've updated it yearly. On the outside, Milga, the Hama-class battle mech, appears 300 meters from Vuki. The crowd roars with excitement. A mech battle is about to begin. I'm surprised that you maintain that old machine, but are you sure that its maneuverability is up to standard?
Why do you care? You know we're going to win, and let's see if that hot-headed disgrace of a co-pilot can handle being in last place.
Chamney, calm yourself.
Hey, he's right. You should stay calm, so that we can actually show you the true family that actually matters on this planet. The Vodsky dynasty. Enough of this!
She turns to her control station and grabs the joystick with furious intent. She presses 2 buttons. A hatch within the right wrist opens, and a pair of 200mm cannons pops out and attaches on the wrist. Holographic cannons appears on Thel's arms.
The time for talk is over! It's time for our mechs to perform the talking!
Goodness, I've never seen Vin this angry.
Chamney, I told you to... But she's right. It's time to make our families proud.
He turns to his monitor and presses 3 buttons.
Defense shield ready. Awaiting command.
Deploy. Acknowledge. Deploying shield. A shield forms on the left wrist of Vuki and attaches to it. A holographic shield appears on Thel's left wrist. I guess there's no point in delaying.
Vuki, I'm assuming full body control.
Acknowledged. Main pilot has now full control. Please test the movements of the body.
Thel lifts his left arm to the side. The mech follows his movement accordingly. Thel lowers his left, then lifts his right arm to the side. The mech performs the same movement. He lifts both legs. The mech mimics it. He turns his head left to right. Vuki follows the movement with no delay. Hez looks away from his screen and looks at the main monitor. Hey, I'm noticing that we're not moving that much. What's going on? Stabilization. No matter what happens on the outside, the cockpit will remain stationary. Even when it's on its back? That's right. Now, shall we begin? A devilish grin appears on her face. I thought you never ask.
Are the combatants ready?
Both mechs' heads nods, mimicking the pilot's movement.
Then let the duel begin!
The crowd roars with excitement. Another roar echoes in the sky, but it did not come from the people within the stadium. The sound of it silences the crowd, but not only that, the entire city of Velda ceases from their individual activities. Back within the stadium, alarms goes off within Vuki.
Alert! 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 Unknown entity approaching. Unknown entity approaching.
What? Triangulate its position.
Scanning. Entity found. Approaching from the V's at 37 knots.
From the V's? From the V's?
Thel turns his body to the right. Vuki mimics his movement and looks up into the sky. The crowds are taking notice of what Vuki is looking at and looks at the same direction. What is going on? What are they staring at? I don't know.
Hey, Demuni, what's the matter? You don't want to fight us? Do you not know what's going on?
Yes, we're about to fight.
You fool. You clearly didn't install radar. Something is approaching our position. What?
Milga turns his bulky body to his left and looks up at the clouds. Another roar echoes in the atmosphere. It frightens and worries the citizens of Velda. In the Demuni house, Bale stands up from his desk. He rushes to a basement window and looks up into the sky. He hears another roar. Back at the stadium...
Entity approaching. Visual contact in 5 mesas.
What could it be? Darkness grows within the clouds. The clouds breaks, and the 3-headed monster reveals itself at last. The 3 heads of the beast peers out first. Then, the rest of the body reveals itself. a massive creature with wings bigger than one can imagine.
What in the heavenly stars?
The three heads' laugh-like roar catches everybody's attention. The moment they gaze upon what is flying above them, the sudden feeling of fear creeps into their minds. The beast flies over the center of downtown. The middle head looks down below. It turns to the left and right heads, commanding them with a single roar. The creature stops in midair. All three heads looks down at the city below it. Some of the civilians begins running away from the hovering monster. The undersides of the necks begins glowing bright yellow. Their mouths open, revealing the glow from within. Golden lightning bolts shoots from the mouths as the heads arches forward. The bolts smashes onto the ground, splitting into the towering skyscrapers and hitting the people, killing them instantly. Now, all within the city flees from the beast. However, they cannot run as fast as the bolts can catch them and turn them into mists of blood. Within the stadium, the audience witnesses the beast's destruction firsthand. Vuki turns to one side of the stands.
Everyone, evacuate the stadium and take shelter. Move! You heard the Mooney? Move it!
The people immediately does what the pilots tell them to do.
Phil, we need to head towards it. And fight it in a heavily populated area? No, we need to lead it out of the city. That's what I was thinking. Milka, combat mode. We need to be the ones to defeat this thing. Vonsky, this is not the time for an improv competition. We need to work as one to get this thing away from the city before it's too late. Vuki, mark unknown creature as primary target.
Acknowledged. Unknown entity is now primary target.
Rocket propulsion thrusters pops onto Vuki's feet. The machine lifts up into the air, leans 90 degrees, and takes off. Milga's boosters launches the machine into the air and follows the mech towards the creature within the city. The beast continues its slaughter against the inhabitants of Valda. The people's screams gets cut off by the electric bolts from its mouths. The middle head stops shooting and looks away in the distance. It spots the two mechs approaching the city. It roars at the right head, then bumps onto the left. It gets their attention on the two mechs. Its body turns and flies towards them.
It notices us.
What in the stars is this thing?
We'll find out in another time.
The beast roars at the mechs as the two forces approaches each other. The beast grabs both Milga and Vuki with its sharp talons. It uses its own weight to push them down, crashing onto the ground below. The impact of the mech smashing onto the ground creates a quake, shakes buildings, and flips cars over. The middle and left heads bites on Milga's shoulder and arm, and the right head bites on Vuka's neck. It removes its talons from their bodies, lifts both off of the ground with ease, and throws them into the air. The mech crashes onto the sides of two skyscrapers, Kalia and Ziva, both of which still has civilians trying to evacuate. The monster slams its wings on the ground and uses them as forward legs to walk to the downed mechs.
Vuki, status!
Chest functionality is at 50%. Damage is near critical.
Maybe we should identify this thing just to see what we're up against.
Might as well. Vuki, scan the creature for identity.
Affirmative. Commence scanning. The computing system scans the approaching monster from heads to toe. Scan complete. Origin unknown. Name unknown.
What? How is there no data on this thing?
Very odd. Warning. Energy blast incoming. The beast fires another wave of golden bolts from its mouths. They hit the mechs, pushing them through many towers and killing the Boreans accidentally. The bolt stops and the mech stops in their tracks. Huge dust and debris covers a massive portion of the downtown district.
Vuki, Milka, do you read me? We read you, Commander. What in the zelf is that thing? And why is there no record of this creature's existence?
I don't know, but your mission right now is to save
All of Velda before this thing kills and destroys everything like it did in Gulda. What?
The beast plows through the dust and debris, dashing at the two rising mechs. Zell raises his left arm, and Vuki mimics his movement, raising the shield in the process. The beast clashes and bites on the shield, pushing the mech by its feet.
I can barely hold it!
Zell lifts his right arm and aims the plasma cannon forward, but the cannon is blocked by the shield.
Has you imbecile! The shield is too big! I can't fire with it in the way! Hey, you try and push it back a monster while trying not to get knocked off your feet. Enough from both of you! I need extra support! I'm on it!
Milga's boosters pops out of its back, and the mech launches itself onto the beast. The beast gets tackled into the 100-meter Civa building. Milga grabs the middle head and punches it. It throws another.
I don't know where you came from, but we're sending you back from where you came!
The left and right heads grabs onto the first two arms, then its two tails wraps around Milga's legs. It yanks the mech off its feet, ripping the arms off as the mech falls on its back. Vuki aims his right arm. The Mark 7 cannon fires a concentrated laser. The blast hits the beast's scaly chest. It drops the arms of Milga and turns its attention on Vuki, as the mech itself continues to fire. On the second fire, however, it gets blocked when the beast raises its left wing, protecting itself. It returns fire with another wave of golden bolts, knocking Vuki on its back. The beast turns its attention back to Milga. It jumps on its stomach and chest and attaches its sharp talons. It flaps its massive wings and lifts up into the air, dragging Milga along with it. Vuki pops up back on its feet and runs towards the two, wielding the shield in front of it. The three heads turns back to the mech and fires another wave of golden bolts. Del expects the bolts to hit the shield. However, the bolts maneuvers around the shield and the mech and hits it in the back. It flies at Vuki with Milga still in its grasp and smashes the machines into one another. Vuki falls on its back.
Warning, combat capacity has dropped to 70%.
Ugh! The font! It's able to manipulate its bolts? What kind of creature is this? Vuki, come in!
Del kips up from his back, and the mech mimics his movement.
Milga, break free! We're trying, but this thing has a tight grip on us!
The beast continues to ascend into the air as high as it can go. Then, it stops. The beast's body glows bright orange, turning yellow as it glows brighter and covering Milga. The crew inside of Milga screams in agony as electricity comes into the cockpit. Vuki launches itself into the sky, going after Milga. As it gets closer and closer, the light grows even brighter. Screams pierces through the speakers. Then, it stops. An explosion erupts. The ball of flames appears and disappears. The smoke clears, and the beast is all that remains. Milga, however, has been reduced to nothing but shattered parts of machinery. Cell, Hes, and Vin becomes distraught, devastated, and shocked all at once. But all of that emotion becomes fury. Cell screams in anger.
You pay for that!
The monster's attention turns to Vuki approaching it. It dives after it. It grabs the mech with its mouths and pushes it down with its weight. The mech grabs its legs and throws it away. The beast crashes back onto solid ground. The mech lands on its feet on top of the downed beast and swings its fists at its heads one right after the other. Vin and Hess looks at Thel. On his face is nothing but vengeful rage, something that they have never seen before from him. The beast's right head bites on the left arm. Its teeth crumbles the Mark 8 cannon with its sheer jaw power.
Warning, Mark 8 cannon damaged. Unable to use.
Switch to a backup!
Switching immediately.
A chain gun pumps out of the shoulders of Vuki and immediately fires rockets from the barrels. The projectiles hits the three heads and causes the beast to cry in pain. The monster fires bolts of lightning from its mouth, hitting Vuki's chest, causing it to explode. Thel stumbles on his feet. The bolts hits the rockets and the Gatling launcher itself. Then, the bolts pierces through the left arm, slicing it off with ease.
Warning, arm dislocated. Damage reaching critical.
The machine topples on its feet, and the beast tackles it to the ground. It grabs onto Vuki's right arm as it swings at it. It yanks and rips it off from the body. The left head shakes it before the middle screams at it to throw it away, to which it does. The head bites down on the chest, ripping out piece by piece, and scratches it with its talons at its legs.
Alert. Damage beyond critical. Unable to combat threat.
It's reaching into the cockpit! We'll be dead if we don't do something! What are we supposed to do?
A range of thoughts swirls in Thel's mind. Then, he comes to a conclusion.
Vuki! 5587DA!
Code enabled. Beginning transfer and preparing escape pod.
Transfer? Escape pod?
Thel steps off of the platform and runs over to Vin's seat.
Del, what are you? Hess, come to us, quickly!
Hes gets out of his seat and rushes over to the two.
Wait, there's not enough room!
Two more seats pops up from the floor. Del and Hes sits in their respective seats.
Wait, where's the escape pod?
Transfer of AI is complete. Pod is ready to launch on command.
Launch!
The beast's mouths open, revealing the glowing gold light. Walls appears around the three pilots and attaches to one another. Suddenly, it launches out of the mech. The beast fires a wave of bullets. The lightning pierces through the chest's armor and maneuvers to every part of the mech. It dissolves every metal and wire within and out. It stops and slams its wings on the ground. The beast turns its attention to the inhabitants of Velda, who just witnessed the destruction of the finest mech of the city. Now, with fury in his eyes, the creature is focused back on them.
Please respond if the pilots are alive.
We're alive!
Pilot survived. Please state status of pilots.
Perfect condition. I'm all right. Still in one piece.
All pilots accounted for. Please take question or command.
Status on the mech.
Destroy.
And Valda?
Scanning. Scan complete. No life detected.
What? Boogie, transfer into my wrist device.
Acknowledge. Beginning transfer.
The AI downloads itself into the wrist device.
Transfer complete.
I'm surprised that you can take this thing anywhere. I wasn't going to let it stay in a mech and get destroyed. Thel stands up from his seat. Right, let's see why I couldn't detect anything. He walks away from the two. Both Vin and Hess stands up and follows him. Thel reaches the door handle and twists it. It opens, and they step out into the night sky. In their immediate sights are the Nugo Mountains in the distance. How far did we travel?
Escape pod traveled 1 Nabin outside of Elda.
That explains the open fields. What happened to that monster? I don't know. But whatever it was, I've never seen anything like that before. Vin looks behind her. She sees something glowing in the sky. She walks around the pod and looks past it.
Oh my.
The two males rushes over to her to see what she is looking at. Their reactions, upon seeing it, becomes the same as hers. All three surviving pilots looks at the city of Valda. But the city itself is nowhere to be seen. In its place are towers of billowing smoke and the raging inferno sitting underneath it. No buildings nor towers are left standing. There is no sound that can be heard. Vin is at a loss of words. Hez cannot believe what he is witnessing, and Thel is more of the same. What happened? All of Velda is gone. What was that monster? A single memory flashes into the Mooney's mind. The words that his father had said just yesterday. Anything it comes across reduces it to nothing. A name comes into his mind. Zero. Vin looks at Thel with disbelief expressions. What did you say? Thel stares back at his co-pilot. I believe that monster is Zero. From disbelief to a more stunned reaction.
No, that couldn't have been Zero. I thought Zero doesn't exist.
I hate to say it, but it does, and we just survived its onslaught. Hez snaps his head to her. So, you knew all along?
You knew about this and you didn't bother telling anyone? Nobody would have believed me. I would have been branded as an Izai. Besides which, I wasn't sure if it did exist or not.
Thel turns his attention to her. Wait a moment. Hez raises a point. You mentioned its name, meaning that you do have some knowledge. What if I did?
Then you would have saved the city from utter destruction. You think I do not know that fact? I would have been looked down upon if that happens, even if it ended up being true.
Frustration grows within the group of three. Thel lowers his head in disappointment. Hez brushes his hair back, and Vin punches the side of the escape pod, leaving behind a huge dent. All right. Let's all calm down. Let's see if we can find somebody still alive.
How? Buki, are the transport bikes intact?
The Mark 1 hoverbikes are 100% functional, ready to deploy on command.
Do it. 3 separate hatches open. The one-seated Mark 1 hoverbike lowers from the platforms onto the grass and waits in place. Hey, Thel, do you think anyone from the base is still alive? We will not know until we see it for ourselves. Onto the bikes. We managed to remain level-headed, but I had a feeling that all of the emotions were still running through us as we got closer to Valda. But all of it evaporated the moment we stepped back into the city.